I am awoken, brought back from the reveries of the past, forced into consciousness by my brothers, to help them, to lead them, to bring back center to their lines, not just in the ways of war, of fire and fury, blood and bone. I bring to them comfort, I bring to them pride, and I mourn for them as much as I do for myself whenever I'm forced back into the world of the waking. I look up and down our lines, and I want to weep. I cannot, of course, for I am no longer truly a man anymore, encased in an amniotic sac entombed in a sarcophagus that resides at the center of a metal chassis. I was interned into a dreadnought, you see, so I could continue to serve the human race, the Imperium, my emperor. When I was asked, all of those millennia ago, I answered resolutely. When they found my body broken on a battlefield, I was slipping away. I had but the strength left to respond, nothing more. I can still remember that day, even now. The cold suffusing my body, creeping up from my extremities, my legs, my arms. The cold chill of death. A face swam into my vision, blurred, darkening, almost gone. And my brother asked me, for then we respected each other, a more civilized age. He asked me, "Wilt thou take the war plate of the dreadnought? Wilt thou live on to fight the enemies of humanity? Wilt thou live on in the Emperor's name?" Aye. That was my response. The one word. Aye. But if I knew then what I know now, I am not so certain I would not have answered at all. I am not sure I would not have sunk into death as a coward, but never having to see what has become of our dream, our struggle, our Imperium of mankind. For then, when the Emperor strode amongst us, led us, alongside his mighty sons, the Primarchs, then we fought for, not against. We fought for a galaxy safe for humanity. We fought for a dazzling dream of the future. We fought for a better tomorrow. Yet now, when I look down on our lines, I see the human wreckage that our order has become. My brothers, my fellow blood angels. Their haunted eyes are filled with the horrors of the battles they have fought, aye. Such was it with us, even then. For none can compare what is even the worst foe now, against the horrors we endured and prevailed over during that first campaign, the Unification Wars. But my brethren's eyes are filled with a greater horror, a deeper tragedy. They do not fight for anything. Not really. They fight against the enemies of humanity, against the Xenos, the traitor, the witch and its demons. They fight against the dying of the light, against the destruction of the Imperium, against the cold trudge of inevitability. I stand amongst my brothers as they look on me in awe, and all I can do is look on them with pity. I stand amongst what they call a company, 100 of us, as they think it a mighty assemblage of fighting power. Whereas I remember that once we fought as tens of thousands. Our ranks and columns a display that would take hours to pass. Glorious. Our army, our brotherhood, it was glorious. And we were led by the greatest of the Emperor's sons. We were led by the angel himself, Primarch Sanguinius. These poor present-day Astartes, these space marines that have been forged out of fear and desolation, they are but a pale shadow of our true soul, how we once were. And these men, these brave souls around me, they have only witnessed the joy of the angel, his image, in their sarcophagi, when they sleep, when they are made into marines of the blood, echoes of memories not even theirs. Whereas I stood with him. I listened to his speeches on the dawn before battles. I witnessed his wings as he soared across the battlements of the holy palace on Terra, giving strength and hope to all there, even as we stood before all of the legions of hell. He led us, inspired us, just seeing him. They will never know, not really. They will never know how we were, what we believed. And if they could, if even one of them could be shown my inner thoughts and memories, the splendor I witnessed, the dream of the Imperium that we were building every day before our very eyes, with each swing of sword, every discharge of bolt, or every drop battle or campaign. We did not do it because we could. We did not do it because we were told to. We did not do it for revenge or hatred or fear. We fought for our emperor and his son, our father, Sanguinius, because we were fighting for something good, something worth dying for, something worth living for. We fought for the dream, a galaxy safe for humanity, a reality where all could one day be free, not only of tyranny from Xenos or Warpspawn, but from ignorance and fear. We fought for a very realistic heaven on earth. And now, when I look at what we have become, what the Imperium is, I cannot fathom why my brothers fight so hard. They fight for a living hell. For that is what the Imperium is now. The antithesis of all we once strove for. It is a thing of ignorance, superstition, fear, and corruption. It is not truly worth fighting for. Yet they do it. Without all the memories and visions of glory and beauty, without the promise of a better tomorrow, even without the promise that there will ever be an end to their war. Yet they do it. And so, for them, I am silent. I do not tell them what they missed. I do not tell them the lies of their existence, the reality of what was and how far humanity has fallen. For I know it would break them. I, even he who sits on the throne of our chapter and protects an entire half of the Imperium, I wager even he could not survive it. The knowledge of how far we have fallen, how far we have failed, how much we have lost. It would break even Dante, I believe. So I withhold my counsel. I speak only when given a direct question. I only provide that which is required, that which is necessary. For anything more is just whispers from the past. I am a thing out of time, out of place. And I will not break my brothers with the burning fire of the knowledge I hold. These brave souls. How any can exist without turning to the black rage I cannot understand. For they are surrounded on all sides, fighting an eternal losing battle against a universe that has turned its back on them. And without the example of our Lord, our Father, Sanguinius, I cannot understand how they can endure it. For in this time, the 10th millennia since my death, there is no hope, there is no honor there is no goal. There is no brilliant tomorrow. There is nothing left to fight for but the denial of death. There is only war. And that is no way to live. Welcome, gentle listener. I am Baldermort, your faithful servant, and I wish to introduce you to the important factions, forces, and units of the Warhammer 40k universe, the grim darkness of the far future, where there is no time for peace, there is only time for war. If you are a regular gentle listener, then I would ask that you check that you are still subscribed and have notifications on. If not, then do consider subscribing, as then you will not miss out on ongoing narratives, if that sort of thing appeals to you. And today, we are to discuss some of the oldest souls still active in the grim darkness of the far future. For these are warriors who strode out before the Scouring, the Horus Heresy, some even before the Great Crusade itself. Of course, I can only be speaking of the Contemptor Dreadnoughts. The oldest of their kind, thus far more powerful than their modern-day counterparts, due to the ever-reducing levels of technological expertise in the human race. The perpetual atrophying scientific power of the Imperium that has been the result of the diktats and dogmas of the Adeptus Mechanicus, which I assure you, I hope to reveal in full detail very soon. But let us get into the meat and to veg of the matter at hand. And so, as usual, for the very basics, let us lean on existing wisdom. To quote, Contemptor Dreadnoughts. Relics of glorious days long gone, Contemptor Dreadnoughts are marvels of ancient technology. The oldest of these war engines first strode into battle during the Unification Wars, when the Emperor of Mankind rose from amidst the barbarity of old Earth and united terror under his rule. They fought for the Imperium during the Great Crusade, the Horus Heresy, and the vengeful years of the Scouring. They have shed the blood of countless foes, and seen the golden glory of the Imperium fade and darken into shadow over millennia of battle. Still they fight on, when they can be roused from their timeless slumbers, and at such times the enemies of the Imperium tremble in fear. The Blood Angels has successfully maintained a number of Contemptor pattern dreadnoughts, the eldest of which housed warriors that fought upon the ramparts of the Emperor's palace, and saw battle at the side of Sanguinius himself. These revered ancients are living links to their chapter's earliest days, and are viewed by their battle brothers as virtually sacred beings. Were such a warrior to be threatened by the foe, or their war chassis stranded upon the field of battle, there are no lengths to which the Blood Angels would not go to protect and recover them in one piece. Of course, Contemptor Dreadnoughts are remarkably potent weapons of war in their own right, and it is far more often the case that they come to the defense of their battle brothers than the other way around. Mounted with lethal heavy weaponry and power fists, Contemptor Dreadnoughts can tear through the enemy's ranks, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. Their ancient technologies imbue them with a remarkable turn of speed for such heavy-duty walkers, while their automatic shielding, the secrets of which have long been lost to the modern Imperium, can turn aside the most powerful energy blasts amidst blinding flashes of light. Thus, when Contemptor Dreadnoughts attack, they are virtually unstoppable. End quote. The Contemptor Dreadnoughts, as we have heard, contain not only technological wonders that cannot now be replicated, for not even the new Primaris Redemptor Dreadnoughts have atomantic shielding, but warriors who have witnessed more than their entire living chapter brethren have at any given time. They are relics of such power that they are revered, but the reality is that they are haunted ghosts of men, surrounded in shells of metal that must look out on the landscape of the modern Imperium in utter desolation. For they were entombed in their dreadnought casing when there was a fire in humanity, a zest for life, and a belief that they were fighting for a better tomorrow for their entire race. When logic, the imperial truth, and the promise of humanity reclaiming its destiny, its power, was all around them. The thought of Astartes fighting one another was anathema, so strange that to even consider it, even think it, was seen as rebellion and a betrayal of all that the Crusade stood for, all it tried to achieve. Yet now, through ages of slumber, when they are awoken, all they see is a decay and parody of an Imperium that they fought to claim. The rotting carcass of a dream destroyed, a destiny betrayed, and a future denied. For the modern Imperium merely hangs on to life, like a lich of high fantasy. For in so many ways, it is already dead, and most will believe that it is the Tyranids or Necrons or forces of chaos that will eventually end the Imperium. But to my mind, the greatest threat to the Imperium is the Imperium. The people who play politics on the Council of High Lords of Terror, while the enemies of humanity gather and consume their realms from the edges, more and more with every passing year. The tech priests of Mars, who burn anything and anyone that they cannot understand, cannot compromise, stilting progress, making it impossible to even propose without the ultimate sanction being leveled at any who do. The soul-destroying drudgery of the vast majority of its people, which then give succor and very ample feeding grounds for the lies of chaos. For it was true that with each passing year the Imperium became weaker and its enemies stronger. It has been thus since the very beginning of the setting, from the days of Rogue Trader, some 3 decades ago or more. But we are seeing some of the strands of portent, hidden even in that original tome, come to life. For in its pages were the Eldar prophecies that the human race stood on the cusp of a transformation, an evolution into beings of psychic power as much nearly as the Eldar themselves. And now, we are seeing the realization of those storylines, over 3 decades in the foreshadowing, in the recent psychic awakening. And one of the legends of that time, Reboot Gilliman, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, has returned. The ancient now walk amongst the living again. The demon Primarchs are back and roam the real world as they did 10,000 years before. Corvus Corax has been spotted, and it is foretold that all of the Primarchs will soon begin their wars again. The clash of titans will resound across the heavens once more. A new age of wonder, of legends, has begun, and none can tell if it will lead to the salvation of the human race or its ultimate damnation. Now, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.